Hello and welcome to History by AI, the channel where I use artificial intelligence to create amazing stories and art based on historical events. We're going to be exploring a secret war that few people know about, the war that the UK Special Forces fought in Nigeria from 2017 to 2023, helping the Nigerian army fight against the Islamic militant group Boko Haram and ISWAP. This story of bravery, skill, and sacrifice, a story of warriors in their own words. I used AI to generate the story and the art based on web searches and my own creativity. I hope you enjoy it and learn something new. This is History by AI. History awaits. Let's begin. It was a dark and stormy night in the remote village of Gowoza, near the border with Cameroon. A group of masked men armed with AK-47 and machetes stormed into the houses, shooting and hacking anyone who resisted. They were members of the Boko Haram, a ruthless Islamic militant group that has been terrorizing northern Nigeria for years. They had come to kidnap young girls, loot valuables, and burn down the village. But they were not alone. Watching from a nearby hilltop, a team of elite British soldiers waited for the right moment to strike. They were part of the UK Special Forces, a highly trained and secretive unit that had been operating in Nigeria since 2017, helping the Nigerian army fight against Boko Haram and its splinter factions, Islamic State West African Province, ISWAP. They had been tracking this particular group of militants for weeks, using drones, satellites, and informants. They also had trained and equipped a squad of Nigerian Special Forces soldiers who were now ready to join them in the assault. The British team leader gave the signal, and a team swiftly down the hill, using night vision goggles and silencers to avoid detection. They split into two groups, one to provide cover fire and diversion, and the other to infiltrate the village and rescue the hostages. They communicated with each other in encrypted channels, through earpieces using code names and encrypted channels. The first group opened fire on the militant vehicles and guard posts, creating chaos and confusion. The second group entered the village from the opposite side, shooting any militants they encountered. They quickly located the house where the girls were being held and used explosives to blow open the door. They found about a dozen terrified girls, some as young as 10, chained to the wall and the floor. They freed them and escorted them to safety while exchanging fire with the remaining militants. The whole operation took less than 20 minutes. The British team regrouped with their Nigerian counterparts, who had arrived in an all-terrain vehicle to provide extraction. They loaded the girls and the gear into vehicles, drove away at high speed, and then met up with the helicopter that had been waiting for them at a pre-arranged location and flew away to a secret base. The next day, the Nigerian government announced that it had successfully rescued the girls from Boko Haram, thanks to its brave and professional soldiers. It did not mention anything about the UK Special Forces involvement, nor did it acknowledge that such a unit existed. The UK government also remained silent on the matter, as it has done so for many other similar missions in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa. The UK Special Forces role in Nigeria was part of a wider strategy to counter the threat of Islamic extremism in Africa, which had been growing in recent years. The UK had been working closely with her other allies, such as the US, France, and Israel, to coordinate their efforts. They had been providing training, equipment, advice, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance to various African countries, as well as conducting direct action raids against high-value targets. But their presence in Nigeria was also controversial and risky. They operated without any official authorization or oversight from either government, relying on informal agreements and personal contacts. They faced dangers not only from the militants, but also from corrupt officials, hostile locals, rival factions, and friendly fire. They also had to deal with ethical dilemmas such as whether to kill or capture suspects, how to handle civilians caught in the crossfire, and how to balance their loyalty to their country with their respect for Nigerian sovereignty. The UK Special Forces' secret war in Nigeria was one of the many stories that rarely made it to the headlines or history books, but it was a story that mattered. A story of courage, sacrifice, skill, and dedication. A story of fighting for a cause that was bigger than themselves. A story of warriors in their own words. Thank you for watching another History by AI episode. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this one and others about historical events, novels, sports figures, and so forth. If you'd like, please leave a comment and let us know what future episodes you want us to do, and we'll get started on those too. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.